Right, it's important to remember one thing. We were always here. Welcome to the first Hold the Line, the call-in show for women's football and beyond. It has arrived and it's going to be amazing. I'm Rodney Cyrus and I'm sitting alongside Emma from MCW Fancast. Emma, how are you?
Really good, thanks. I'm a little bit nervous, but first show is going to be a good one. I can't wait.
It's going to be good. It's going to be, apart from good, it's going to be amazing, phenomenal, fantastic. It's going to be awesome. Everyone wants to be involved. And I'm glad you guys are here. Please get involved. Make sure that you send a DM and DM will get back to you. We've got DM actually in the background doing stuff on comms. We've got Craig in the background doing stuff on comms. And we've got Ali doing stuff on finance. Ali's not here, but she's doing stuff on finance. Tonight, we're going to take calls from fans. We're hearing from fans. This is what we've been wanting. We've been crying out for it. We've been talking about it for such a long time. It's here. We've got WSL chat. We've got FAW Championship chat. We've got women's football chat in terms of the European stuff, what's happening there, transfer chat. What's really important is about you guys, the fans. We're hearing your voice. We want you to tell us what's important to you. But before we get to you guys, we need to remember one thing. Like and comment. I didn't say subscribe. Oh, I did say subscribe. Oops, slipped out. Sorry about that. My bad. Emma, what's going on? What's going on?
It's been a good week, hasn't it? Well, good weekend across the women's game, I think. Looking forward to delving into the championship. I think that's something obviously we've not done before. We've concentrated really on the FAWSL, but yeah, it's good. We've got some fans coming on to chat to us from both the WSL and the Championship League. So really looking forward to speaking to them.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think we've got a Leicester fan, and they'll be tickled pink.
Oh, absolutely.
Pink. Tickled
yeah,
pink
one game away are they now from the title?
This is what you get, right? When you invest in a team properly. You invest, not just financially, but you put your time and your effort into a team from the club's point of view. And the owners of Leicester have said wholeheartedly, this is what we're going to do. And it looks, you know, it looks like it's paid off for them. So credit where credit's due. Where credit's due. You know what? We've got a lot to talk about. You know, we've got, you know, obviously I cover a lot of the FAW Championship stuff. Look at the WSL. Shall we start with the WSL? Just a little bit.
Go on then.
How you feeling? You feeling all right?
Yeah, it was, from City's perspective, I think, you know, it was good to get the 3 points out of the game. You know, I think it was a tough sort of tall order, should I say, against Reading. Left it to the dying minutes, quite literally. But yeah, it was a tough game. Reading played really well, to be honest. They fought really hard for the full 90 minutes, and it was just obviously a bit of a lapse in concentration from them, but a moment of absolute brilliance and magic from Lauren Hemp to weave her way through the defence and find Chloe Kelly to find the back of the net.
Do you know what? I give you your due in terms, because I sent a message to you thinking you can breathe now, because I could see it was one of those games where everything just looked jittery. The passing in the final third was all over the place. Yeah. There wasn't a calm head to be found, apart from the camera who kept looking at the captain who was injured, Steph. You know,
yeah, we all felt a bit like Steph, to be honest. But I think she represented most of the City fans, to be honest.
It was like a horror film during the afternoon. It was tense. But then you've got the young wizard that is Lauren Hemp. What a nice little mazy run.
Amazing.
Hey? What a nice little mazy run. Jinking in and out of the box, and then another young English woman getting on the end of it. And yeah, I mean, obviously good for you guys, but it makes it interesting in terms of the running. We've got a comment, and I've got to show it, and I've got to explain something here. And it says, I thought this would be on the Hold the Line channel. That was the plan. Okay, so we've got to apologize. That was the plan, for the simple reason we're waiting for the actual YouTube to be verified as it is. We've set things up in terms of that platform slightly later than we wanted to, but we're using this, you know, the on and off the pitch platform for 1 week. This is the only time it will be on this one. Fingers crossed. The only time. You can actually watch this on the YouTube, but if you want to actually get on Twitter as well, you can watch it on Periscope on Twitter. It's on the Hold the Line Talk Woso Twitter page, so you can do that as well. Good stuff.
Hello.
Oh, hello. We've got a voice from the ether.
Here from Chelsea, from India, is our first caller. Sorry, I've just that was a slightly abrupt opening, but yeah, welcome. Say hello.
Hi, how are you guys doing? Nice to be here.
Well, thank you for being our very first caller, and all the way from India as well. We're doing fine. We're so pleased to speak to you. Please do come back. What do you want to say to us? What's on your mind?
Well, firstly, Emma, I've spoken to Emma before, and I wished her all the best for this episode. I told her that I had some prior commitment, but that got cancelled, so I'm glad to be here. It's a very cool concept that you guys have started, because this has never been done before, and sport, unites people from across the world, but you've been able to get them on call and actually talk to each other, which is very fantastic. I wish this episode and this series all the best, and I hope this continues for many more years, because I'm definitely going to be tuning in. If I'm not on call, I'm going to be a listener for sure. But yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Oh gosh, I'm so glad you said that. Thank you very much, Emma. You've spoken to Radha before. What you know?
Yeah. We've spoke about Chelsea City games in the past, and it's great to have you on. I'm really appreciate you phoning in as well, because you're our first caller, so it just shows the tech works as well. So thank you for that.
Brilliant stuff. So you are a Chelsea fan?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so you're feeling happier than you were whilst you watched the Manchester City result come in?
Yeah, no. As a Chelsea fan, I'm sure any Chelsea fan will tell you at this point we're on top of the world. And I don't want to jinx that when I say that, but it's been a pretty good few months for us now. And, every time we step on the field, we produce some sort of magic. Again, as I say this, I realize it could be a very heavy jinx and I could really get into trouble for this. But it's been very good to see our team that has the capability of doing so well actually flourish and actually link up with each other and, thrive in the environment that Emma Hayes has set up for them. So it's been a very good few months. I feel like every Chelsea fan at this point is just safeguarding and bodyguarding Sam Kerr and Fran Kirby, just not letting anyone, jinx them or take away anything from them. But yeah, as a Chelsea fan, very happy.
Yeah, as I like to call her, Don Kirby, to give her her full respectful title. Can I ask you about Sam Kerr? Because when she arrived, she obviously was finding it difficult to find the back of the net. This is the Sam Kerr that we were all in awe of before she arrived, and I would actually say that we're now afraid of. Would you agree?
No. Yeah, absolutely. So I think I have to mention here that Sam Kerr has Indian roots, and us as Indians are going to be clinging on to that for as long as we can. But Sam Kerr herself also mentions that this seems to be her best spell since she signed for Chelsea. And that really shows you that you can pluck a Golden Boot winner from any other league. But when you bring them into your league, it takes time to evolve. It takes time to adapt and adjust. And she has patiently gone through that process. And her team and the management above her has also helped her through that process. You have to give them time. You have to give them some patience and back them as they keep learning. So she's gone through that initiation process, and now you see her really flourish in the blue color, and it's fantastic to see. She seems to be doing everything right. She's linking up well. She has great chemistry with the team, and she's a great personality to be around as well, and I'm sure she's adding a lot to the team as much as she's taking away from them as well in terms of what she can pick up from the players around her. She's been a great addition to the team.
Yeah, I mean, from the outside, as a non-Chelsea fan, I look at that Chelsea team and it just purrs. It really does purr. It clicks so well. I mean, I'm not sure if Emma's wanting to ask you anything in particular, because her die is truly cast.
No, you can't, defer away from the fact that, they are a top team. The Kirby and Kerr partnership is, unbelievable, and it's, really coming to fruition for Chelsea. I'm quite apprehensive heading into obviously April and that big game. I've got my sort of apprehensions about it, but you know, I think for us, I think it's going to be, you know, one of the biggest games of the season, and probably one of the biggest games in the WSL, I think, that we've seen this season so far. So, you know, we've obviously played a lot of each other this season so far, and I feel we've got to right the wrongs of sort of some of the mistakes and errors that we've made, and really go out and get a result against Chelsea. But, you know, I think, you know, you're in a good position heading into obviously the second tie of the Champions League as well against Wolfsburg. So, you know, I do believe that, you know, Chelsea are the type of team that can go all the way. You know, Emma Hayes is clearly managing the side very, very well at the moment, you know, but it is really good to see that partnership really come to fruition now, and Sam Kerr getting in amongst the action and in amongst the goals as well, because it's almost took her just that little bit longer. But, you know, you can forgive her for the actual quality that she's actually producing now.
Yeah, it's good.
Absolutely.
Do you know, before you jump in, there's a comment which is coming. It's more of a question for you, and I'm going to get that on the screen right now. And it's from Reese. Thank you, Reese, for sharing your thoughts and questions. Will Chelsea win the Champions League? A lot of pressure. Rada, what do you think to that?
There is only one answer, isn't it?
Well,
and
not really.
I do believe, I mean,
there's a couple of answers.
Yeah, no. No, see, as a Chelsea fan, you know, even if my team wasn't doing well, I would back them. But this year, the way that they're performing, a very realistic, almost neutral head could predict that Chelsea will do very well, you know, just based on their trajectory. Obviously, hoping nothing goes wrong, hoping we don't have any more injuries. But Chelsea really need to keep their head down and keep focusing the way they have. They shouldn't get too many wins, let them get to their head, because that could then result in a bit of shaky performances. But will Chelsea win the Champions League? I have to say yes. I have to. There's no other answer here. If they don't win it, I know they're going to absolutely give everything and, you know, go down trying and fighting. But this team has to, I mean, it's the best Chelsea team we've seen under Emma Hayes. So all the best to them. And yeah, they're definitely bringing it back.
Good stuff. Well, I you feel confident. I don't blame you. Chelsea are playing well in the league. They don't look like they have any deficiencies or weaknesses. You've got a great set of strikers that, you know, the manager can call upon, and obviously Chelsea fans are tickle pink. The rest of the league will have major concerns, and I would say the same is going to be said in European football. I'm going to say thank you very much for being our first caller. Please do call again when we're back on, and hopefully we're going to be back on very, very soon. And please spread the word. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and all the best for the rest of the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, right, gosh, bye. Well, it's kicked off very well. And I'd say that you get your first call, and it's an international one. What more can you say? We've got a comment from, or nice words actually, from the Women's Football Today. It's a good luck with the show. Thank you very much. We appreciate that, and we like to ensure that our aim is to basically talk to all the fans. This is a fan initiative. You know, we are fans talking to other fans, and it's been a long time coming. And I've got to say, as much as I'm talking and Emma's here, DM, who's in the background, she's the driving force for this. She doesn't want me to say it, but I'm going to say it. She is the driving force. She put this together along with Craig and Ali and obviously Emma, and I'm just here as like the little sprinkles on top of the cake. But the cake itself is made up by, yeah, I'm telling it as it is. It's made up of more than me and you. There are people, you know, making this happen. So I really do appreciate it. Gosh, you know, oh, look at the time. Look at it, the time is moving already. I thought it was only 2 minutes past 7.
How are you feeling, Rodney? Obviously at the weekend, you know, United, Old Trafford, you know, big stage really for the West Ham game. How did you feel?
Do you know something? But when I watched it, you know, I actually felt, I wish they'd have played there before. There was a bit of me that thought I wanted them to play there before, like when the fans were there. And I know that there was an issue, you know, not an issue. You know, Casey had a point that she wanted the fan base to grow. But I just felt the occasion, considering the absence of fans at football, it made me appreciate something really new and exciting about the team walking out onto the pitch. And I just thought, even if they're only a couple of hundred fans or 500, do you know, it would have had, it just would have added something extra to it, you know. So, you know, as a spectacle and the emotional aspect to it. But, you know, from a league position, I would say, you know, a great result for Manchester United, because, you know, they know that they've got a fight to remain in third place. They're looking to secure European football. We've got to talk about that later in the news. But, you know, I'd say good performance from individuals. Jackie Groenen played very, very well. I thought she really stood out. Lauren James getting her goal. Everyone can see, you know, Lauren James scoring at Old Trafford. I mean, come on, that should just be a given if Man United are playing at home anyway. I would say that it has cachet. Christine Press, really good link-up play. So from a Manchester United point of view, you know, I would say really, really good. I've got to speak on behalf of West Ham. I have to. Ali wouldn't forgive me if I didn't. I would say that West Ham had their chances to take in this game. They did have their chances, particularly in the second half, and they didn't take them when they arose. And from a West Ham fan point of view, it's going to make it more difficult now, looking at the league in terms of league position, looking at other results that are going on. You know, they haven't received or, you know, obtained the same level of kind of results that they wanted with a new manager. You know, there's so much going on for them. And I suppose that this was one of the games that they probably wanted to have been low key, you know, not necessarily on a bigger stage where people are all watching, especially with there being no Premier League football. So, you know, from that point of view, I would say from West Ham, they're going to have to dig deep. And I know West Ham usually dig deep, but they're going to really have to dig deep to try and find the rhythm, their groove to turn things around. But from Manchester United point of view, nice 3 points, kind of smooths over the kind of hiccups that they faced in the last few weeks. But yeah, that's what I see, and that's what I think. But I mean, what do you think from your side?
Yeah, I think, you know, for West Ham, I think they're obviously in a very difficult position at the moment. I think everyone's obviously trying to fight their way out of the bottom of the table, and you still can't predict how it's going to go. If I was going to put money on anyone, I'd probably say Villa, to be honest. But I still kind of look at West Ham and think that there are games where they can pick up points. But it's just that application, isn't it? You know, it's like you said, they've had their opportunities and didn't take them. And sometimes, you know, obviously they're costly, aren't they? And I think that proved in that game. I think it was a bit of I think, like you said, I think playing on, you know, a big stage, you know, sometimes there is that aspect of the occasion, you know, different, obviously, you know, pitch and, you know, environment, obviously, which can sort of put a little something into people's minds, I suppose, going into the game. But even so, you know, just West Ham at the minute, overall, I think just really disappointing so far under Ollie, not really seeing any kind of positive play or anything like that. I think within the team themselves, they seem to, you know, be gelling a little bit more. It seems to be positive in that respect, but I just think what we're seeing on the pitch, not necessarily so.
No, it's
hi. Sorry, I'm just.
We've got a caller.
We've got a caller. Yeah, sorry. So this is Shahan.
Shahan, how are you?
Shahan?
Is he decided? Hello, Shahan.
Shahan, are you there?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm away from my computer. I can't really hear you. It's very quiet.
Okay. Hello, can you hear us now?
I can hear you more than I can you and Emma. I'm stepping away from my computer, so there's no feedback or anything.
Yeah, that would be good. You could even actually mute your computer so that it doesn't.
Yeah. Go on, Shahan.
Can you hear us, Shahan?
Yeah.
Is he there?
This is yeah, he should be there.
Yeah, it's you know what, DM, this is what will happen. We get a first caller and a call from India, and we get a caller from the UK, and you know that's why they privatized British Telecom. You know, everyone's on the mobile.
Okay, I'm going to mute it and try and bring him in.
Yeah, no worries. We'll get Shahan back. Don't worry. He's having technology issues with his SIM card. It would seem.
It's funny, really, because obviously talking about the bottom of the table, then probably Shahan will probably chip in and tell us that his point of view on the whole thing. So that was perfect timing, to be fair.
It's probably the reason why he's got a poor signal.
But yeah, I kind of feel at the moment, definitely under Ollie, I think they've got to pick up some points somewhere. I believe that they will. Like we said there, definitely set pieces, defending. You just needs to be a little bit tighter and a little bit more cohesive. That communication needs to be there, and I don't think that's necessarily shown, but you know, there has been really good aspects of play. They just need to move it forward into the next couple of games, and hopefully somewhere they'll pick up some points.
Yeah, I mean, they're at the bottom. Villa very close to them. As Reese has got there in the comments, he says they need to improve defending set pieces, as you know that could see them going down. And you know, any team that's getting relegated or threatened with relegation right now this season is going to find it really difficult in terms of finances. Shahan, are you back?
Hello, good evening, Ronnie. Good
evening,
Emma.
Hey, Shahan is back all the way from the UK. Shahan is calling us all the way from the UK. Excellent, brilliant. Shahan, what's obviously Bristol fan. Bristol getting a point. What's your question, sir?
Definitely. Of course, getting the point against Birmingham, who haven't won at home, and Bristol City haven't won away. So I think something had to give, but clearly it didn't. And in my opinion, I feel like it's 2 points lost. I mean, I think the result was deserved for each team based on how they played. But I feel Birmingham fans will also feel disappointed with the draw, or with the result being a draw as well.
I mean, it was a relatively early goal, really, as well for Bristol. So do you feel a little bit disappointed that you couldn't have built on that, really, moving it, you know, and that Birmingham were able to find their way back into the game?
Yeah, definitely. I kind of feel like that as well. I feel towards like the final third, Birmingham, you know, got into the groove a little bit more. I think we mentioned it on our latest episode of the Bristol City Vixen Cast podcast. I think there was like some signs like the players might have been a little bit tired, because also worth considering that Bristol City also played last week, whereas Birmingham last played the game like a week Wednesday. So I don't know whether that will count as a factor. But my actual question for tonight isn't actually anything to do with Bristol City. Well, not at the moment anyway.
Well, okay, go ahead.
So my question for you and for Rodney, and also for the rest of the watchers and listeners tonight is, seeing the news that the European Club Association have announced their first ever women's football strategy, which is being reported by some, including the BBC and her Football Hub, as a potential second European competition in women's football, with some comparing it to a potential Europa League. I just want to ask the panel and everyone else thinking, if it's like done right logistically, and if there's like enough suitable teams from each participating nation, would you like there to see a Europa League or equivalent in the women's game? In one way, because it could potentially give more teams, at least in the WSL, like to compete for Europe.
It's one of the topics that we were going to talk about, definitely. Second European League, is it needed? And would teams, obviously, clubs, welcome it? It's a bit of a shock in terms of the timing. That's what for me. I'm not sure what Emma thinks, but I think it's, you know, timing is everything in football, and we've seen with the new deal for Sky and the WSL how that's been received. It's great, but this news almost takes, I don't know if it elevates the deal and the news, but it almost takes the shine off of it in a way, and then it causes questions of concern in terms of the top half of the WSL, which is already there, if that's going to cause a breakaway league, you know, and the reason I pose that kind of possibility is because of the financial deal or the proportion in terms of percentages that they say that the WSL clubs will get in comparison to the championship clubs. 75-25. If you know that you're in the bottom half of the WSL, how much of that 75% are you really going to get? How much? Are you the cachet club? Do you have the big enough fan base that will scream and shout on social media or get the ear of a mainstream journalist or another platform? So as much as it seems as a very promising and very lucrative idea, from a fan's point of view and a club point of view, in terms of infrastructure, how does that kind of drip through to the footballing pyramid, which at this very moment in time doesn't go beyond the championship because everything else is closed? So I think that it's a very good question, Shahan. It's a very good question. And I think it's a question that we're going to, you know, me personally, I will kind of look at and come back to try and add to it in terms of what I've just said, because I don't think my answer is going to be an answer that stands forever. I will have to build on it like everyone else, because you can only take things in the moment and say, this is the position I have today, what will change tomorrow? But that's me. Emma, what do you think?
I think we're moving very fast is what I think at the moment. And it's positive, which is fantastic. And I suppose it's welcome news, but I just don't think we're quite ready for it yet. I think we need to grow the actual league itself in terms of teams. I think we need to iron out all the niggles that obviously come with the women's game at the moment, the professionalism, the consistency from the FA, you know, simple things like goal line technology, all those investments, you know, referees, officiating, all those things we need to look at before we even think about expanding on a European scale, because I don't think we're quite ready for it yet. But I'm welcome. I think it's welcome, but I think we've got to see some sort of investment somewhere, and we've you know, before we start thinking big time.
Yeah, Shahan, I don't know if those points address what you've asked. Do they come close?
Yeah, but they come close enough, and I think I can agree with what Emma is saying. Like, in the case of like the game, the developments are happening too fast, and of course, I don't want to see anything like a Europa League, for example, if the women's game is not quite ready for it yet in terms of like the infrastructure, or like the funding, or even with the travel issues. Of course, once the pandemic ends, I think it's, in my opinion, I would love to see a second European competition in the future, you know, within the next, 5 or 10 years. But hopefully, as I said, I think other things are probably more important in the women's game for them to be before the game could branch out to something like a second European competition.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we've got really pressing concerns about pitches and referee competency and consistency. I understand the lucrative question of creating a European Super League or a second-tier European league for women's football. I get it. I totally understand if this is a kind of a hothouse approach of investment and promotion and advancement. It looks good. It does look good, but
sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good. You know, does it do what it says on the tin? You know, not sure. You know, and I've had a conversation before. The Sky deal has come around. It's around for 3 years with BBC, but the FA had already put out a comment a couple of months ago saying they weren't investing on FA and referees training and recruitment. So, you know, like I say, timing is important. Timing is very, very key. So this announcement coming in literally a week after the Sky announcement and BBC, I don't know if it's a tester or if it's the real deal. Shahan, I thank you for your question. I really, really do appreciate it.
No problem, guys. Best of luck with the rest of the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you very
on.
much.
Good night.
Cheers. So speak soon, Shahan. I'm going to say big thanks to the viewers on YouTube. Big thanks to the viewers on Twitter, and those of you in the comments. Really do appreciate it. Thank you very much for sticking with us and spending some of your lovely Monday evening, because I'm sure people are looking outside thinking, "Oh, if only the pubs were open," but they're not, and you're with us. And
That's what I'm feeling right now, I'll tell you.
You're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. You stay right here. You stay right here. I mean, it is a really, really, really good question that he's posed about the European League, the second European League. And I've seen comments on Twitter repeat, you know, fans are literally rubbing their hands together, thinking they're going out on a European bus tour. They're doing all of that stuff, and they're going, "Oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that." And, you know, haven't factored in, this is the new world. This is, you know, the coronavirus world where people are getting vaccinated. We're having negative tests. You know, there's a third wave happening in certain parts of Europe now. Possibly there'll be another one. You know, if you know your history, you'll realize that the pandemic, which took place many years ago, took more than 2 or 3, 4, 5 years to, you know, for the European nations to get under control. This is really, really important. We've got comments. I need to do that. The comments. Obviously, this one here says, will smaller clubs, will smaller leagues across Europe be able to afford the travel costs involved? Really good question. Thanks, Craig, for that. And we've got one from Ryan. He says, great show, been dying for something like this. We'll hopefully get around to ringing in next time. Please do, Ryan, make sure you spread the word. And, you know, I have to be honest, everyone that's involved in this, it's just me and Emma, DM, Craig, Ali, you know, this is like a project we've been talking about for a while, and we're so glad that it's up and running. I can tell you, Ryan, there were plenty of nerves before we went live. There's plenty of nerves. This is a comment. It's got, she talks balls. It's 12:02 a.m. here, and this is the best way to spend my time right now. Oh my God, where is hair? Where is hair? That's what I want to know. Where is hair? Please let us know. Stuart Buck says, with the new TV deal and the money exposure, it will bring, can you see a scenario where there are an influx of foreign players? Will this hamper the development of young British players? Ooh, Emma, go.
I assume I need to turn the...
Who's that? Who's that? Who's that coming in? I know we've got people in the background. What's going on? Have we got another call coming in?
Okay.
So hi everyone. Sorry,
hi.
Chris here, who's a Birmingham City fan.
And,
take it away, Chris. Hi.
Chris. Hi, Chris. How
Hi,
are
Rodney.
you? Hi.
Hi, everyone. Really, really excited that you're doing this. I've listened to 606 for a number of years. I've been into men's football ever since I was really young, and my journey with women's football started probably when Birmingham won the FA Cup in 2012, but I'd say it started properly when I started going to live games, which was in 2015. So what I'd like to talk about with you guys is the future of women's football and where it's heading, and in particular kind of like the investment from men's clubs, because at the moment, women's clubs, most of them, if not all of them, are reliant to a degree on their parent men's club for financial support. If you were to say, would that women's club team be able to survive by itself based on all the income that they generate from ticket sales, sponsorship, advertising, commercial deals, TV money? I don't think it's anywhere near enough at the moment. So I kind of just want to get the panel's opinion and anyone else's on where they see the support from men's teams coming in from a financial point of view.
It's a really good. I mean, I can say something, but Emma, you might want to say something first. I don't know if you do or.
Yeah, I think when we've heard like a lot of clubs speak in the past that most of the investment and the income and revenue that the clubs do make is through sponsorship, not necessarily the broadcasting deals, but obviously that may differ with Sky coming in now. But yeah, it is interesting really, because I think during this obviously pandemic that a lot of obviously fans have spoke about how clubs haven't been getting that the gate money through the ticket sales, fans going along to games. I think a lot of fans do think that a lot of the the income does come through actual fans going to the games themselves, but it's not necessarily true. It will be interesting to see how clubs do progress, especially now with obviously a lot of the lower tier going obviously back into training today, and the national leagues and those sort of clubs and the grassroots and upwards, how that they will manage. But hopefully they will get some support, which I believe they will do. But I think sustaining obviously clubs moving forward, I hope as obviously the game does progress and like we see the broadcast deals, that the parent clubs do step up and invest a little bit more money in the clubs. I mean, we've seen it obviously with Liverpool, spoke about lack of investment and lack of money going into their club, and they're obviously fighting to hopefully come back into the WSL. It doesn't look obviously like that's going to happen this season, but you'd hope that maybe looking into next season that they will invest more money into their women's team.
I mean, to add to that, the Liverpool scenario in the Championship, that they were kind of ridiculed in a sense, the men's team, for not doing enough for their women's team. They were, by the fans, they were ridiculed. You look at the flip side of what's happening with the Liverpool's men right now, and they're having a bit of a poor run in terms of results. Then you look at Leicester, who have gone the whole hog, for a better phrase, to support their women's team. And they're sitting pretty on the top of the women's championship, looking like they will be promoted, So I think from a financial point of view, it makes sense for the club if you have teams under your umbrella that you support them wholeheartedly. But I say that as a fan, and you asked the question as a fan, but when we look at it from a football club's point of view, they should have a moral position on this and saying it's no good giving these players the club crest to wear if we're not treating them equally, if we're not taking care of them in the same way. If you go to work and your employer favors someone else, you feel bad. Just in any job, doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a school teacher, fireman, shop assistant, nurse, you know that your manager doesn't take you in the same light, doesn't see you in the same light, doesn't value what you do. So as much as we talk about, football clubs promoting women's football and they need to do more, what do those clubs actually feel about those players? They're players. Take away the gender specific adjective, male, they're football players. And you own a football club, you have a football club. It makes sense to support them. It makes sense to do the right thing. So in terms of clubs doing that, that's what they need to do. Where is it going in terms of finance and the women's game and advertising? Then it's about the conversations that those in the boardrooms have with the businesses that they do business with. the sponsorship deals and say, right, if you're going to sponsor the club, then we need to ensure that an equal percentage of the sponsorship is divvied up across the board. Not rocket science. You know, decent accountant will say, you know, they've got to get 33%, they've got to get 33%, they've got to get 33%. Simple, not hard.
Mm.
I'm saying that from a very simple point of view.
Sure. Can I make a comment?
Yeah, of course.
Basically, you know, I'm looking at it from a fan's point of view, but anyone who knows me will be aware that I've also been involved with Birmingham City from a sponsor's point of view, but that's another story. I can see the club's point of view as well, because I've been involved in discussions about this. And when you look at it at the club's point of view, it's not so favourable, because they will put across the arguments that the men's team generates so much more income compared to the women's team. You know, for a start, the crowds in the stadium are roughly 20 to 25 times bigger, depending on which club it is. So, you know, if you Birmingham City, 800 to 1,000 people, women's team, the men's team, you know, 20,000 at St Andrews. So it's, again, you know, it's a massive difference just in fans going on the match day. But then the TV money that they get for the men's team from Sky and BT and all around the world as well is absolutely colossal compared to these new deals that the women's team's going to get. The player sales, you know, the men's team can sell players for 25 million, and that money is coming in. And even though we as women's fans are absolutely frustrated as anything from the lack of investments, and I will say this, you know, on this show, that in particular Birmingham City are not getting the investment from the men's team that they deserve, because they have been a very successful women's team over the years, and they are not maintaining that level of success due to the lack of investment from the men's club. But I do hear that their argument to counteract that is the fact that they've got to look after where the majority of their income is coming in. And at the moment, it's just a massive, massive disparity. So it's difficult trying to convince, you know, the board owners that investing in the women's team is a prudent and, you know, sensible thing to do, considering that the game is growing, and you're going to go from 800 fans up to, you know, 1,500, 2,000. You know, you grow it gradually, but it will grow. And there is, you know, if you're thinking about, you know, long term, it is, you know, we all believe that there's a future for women's football, but we just want the boardrooms behind the men's teams to recognise this as well, and that's my frustration.
Do you know, I can sense your frustration. I can hear it in your voice, and I, you know, as a fan, I think we've had those conversations, Emma, Craig and I, Ali, DM, we've had those conversations on Twitter. So it's great that you're able to share it. And you know, so you said about, you know, the clubs have their, you know, their point of view, and you see it because you've had to deal with that. I mean, that is a really interesting bit of insight, because not many fans are able to say that they've have an understanding of what it is to do with the sponsorship. But, you know, I try to look at things in a very simple way, and I get the whole idea about football. We've got to take care of those that bring in the money. It's about relearning about what football is. It's about re-educating everyone. You know, the importance that we've given male footballers has been around for so many years that it's been unchallenged. It's almost like a given. And what we have now is a product which is not so much a project, it's an organism which has got a following, and it's saying, take care of me, like a baby, you know. When the baby's crying, you feed it, you take care of it, you pick it up. Do you understand? I'm going at it from a very humanistic point of view. So to be very cold and say, well, we can only do this because of the money, when football is such an emotional feeling that you have between other fans, your club, an event, a fixture, a moment in history, that for those that are actually running the game, I actually believe that they've lost touch with what's important and how they can change the narrative.
It's funny, you know, I don't know how you feel about this, Chris, but I think, you know, next season, I think we'll see Birmingham as one of the clubs that will see the most investment, because I think it's investment that needs to be made with regards to the pitch and things like that, because they're looking now at obviously certain criteria and regulations to be met to ensure that obviously with this broadcasting deal that these games don't get called off. So Birmingham potentially could be one of those teams where, you know, we do see some significant improvements.
Is Chris still there?
So, but
oh yeah, go on. Sorry, Chris. Sorry.
No, I like your optimism, but having
I'm an optimistic person.
I'm not sharing it.
Chris is like me, half glass full. I've got to, before you go, Chris, I've got to say a big thanks to everyone who's watching on YouTube, Twitter, and those in the comments, and a big thank you to, but basically all of you, from myself, Emma, DM, Craig, and Ali. Really, really appreciate it. And Chris, you know, I'm glad you called on. I hope you come back on, please.
Yeah, I look forward to another time. Yeah, I think this is going to be a very successful format.
Well, yeah, well, you know, we've got someone to blame for that, but they're not visible at the moment. But no, we thank you. I say that in jest, DM. There she is! Hey! She's in the background. Chris, really do appreciate your call and your insight. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Sorry,
Okay, thanks,
laughing. Okay.
DM's in the house. Excellent. Right, I need to get some comments on because we missed quite a few. I've got to go back to Stuart's one because it was quite key, and it was one that stuck in my mind even while we were talking to Chris. Influx of foreign players, impact on the development of young British players. That's a really key question with this new TV deal. Emma, what do you think? Considering the young British players that you've got and you've obtained at Manchester City, and we see around the league that are actually doing great stuff, and I've seen some really good English talent in the Championship, like talent.
Yeah,
really
there's
good.
so much good talent coming through at the moment. I think that's again why the FA has highlighted obviously a lot of most recently, you know, talk of obviously those pathways and those investments that you know they're going to make better pathways for those players coming through, especially young players. So yeah, I don't think it'll hamper the development because they're seeing quite you know, invested on obviously ensuring that we continue to development within obviously the UK. So yeah, I'm not too worried about that. I am excited by the players that will potentially come over. Obviously we've seen that this season with, you know, the quality players that we've had from the NWSL, from the Australia League and beyond. So I think that's been really exciting this season to see those players, you know, light up the WSL and make it that little bit more exciting, you know, and giving us a broader audience in terms of that global reach as well. I think that's been really good for the women's game because there certainly seems to be a lot more fans on an international level sort of watching us and talking about the women's game and the WSL especially. Yeah,
I mean, I got to agree with you. It's kind of a really difficult question to kind of pin down in terms of a yes or a no. The growth of the league in terms of its appeal obviously will be based on the foreign players, but also how it's packaged by the new TV deal. Will it hamper the development of young British players? I think that goes both ways. They will develop as She Talks Ball says, it's the more experience and in terms of the talent in those clubs, and they can learn from the players around them. But when you're playing football at any age, you want to play, and when you're playing football and you've got star players in your team, they're not necessarily stars to you. They're just teammates. So you see them as someone who's taken your spot. So it really is.
I mean, look at Sam Mewis. She's learning off Lauren Hemp. You know what I mean? Chloe Kelly. It's the other way around at the moment. I think those international players are coming over here and learning more about their game and developing their, adding so much to their game as well. So I think you could look at it from both sides. I think it's really exciting either way you look at it.
Okay, I think we've got a call coming through. I think we've got Matt coming in.
We do. It's we do have a call coming through. It's Matt, who's a Blackburn fan. So really excited to hear what Matt's going to say.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so I think there's a bit of a lag, but just calling in as a Blackburn fan, basically.
Yeah, and have you got anything good or positive to tell us about Blackburn? How are things going for them?
Yeah, I mean, happy. It was really good to get a draw against Liverpool away yesterday. It was pretty bad weather conditions, so the team kind of really pulled together because I think it's been pretty tough since the turn of the year. But they pulled together, played really well, and came away with the draw. So really happy with that. Yeah,
you were behind as well, didn't you? You come back from behind as well. That's always good.
Yeah. So I think they took an early-ish lead, and then we managed to put the pressure on and get a goal back. But I think a draw in the end was a fair result.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Blackburn play a couple of times this season when they've travelled down south, and I was really impressed with them in terms of their apart from their style of play, just their desire not to give up. So I know that Liverpool, and we mentioned them earlier, being a team that was previously in the Women's Super League, Blackburn will feel much happier, obviously, having a point. But you said that since the start of the new year, they've not had the greatest results. Sitting just below mid-table, how's that for you? Is that a difficult thing to see?
Sorry, cutting out there.
I was going to say Blackburn are sitting just below mid-table in the Championship, and how's that been for you? Is that difficult for you? Do you expect more from them?
I think that it's our second year, so while you really want to see year-on-year progression, and I think that's what the manager is aiming for, I think just sort of steadily building is fine. I think the Women's Championship is changing quite quickly all the time. So I think that basically Gemma Donnelly's done a great job as manager, and I think she's very underrated in what she does. So it was, I just think it's progress and it's building year on year, to be honest.
Yeah, I will say that, I mean, you would have watched the Championship games. It's a really tough league, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, some of them can be like 3-3 draws and it's end to end and it's goals going in all over the place. So it can be a lot of fun.
It can be a lot of fun. God, Emma, did you want to say something to that?
Yeah, you've got Coventry next, haven't you?
Yes, Coventry next week. So that's normally quite a tight game, actually.
That's going to be a game.
So, but we'll be hoping, obviously, to kind of notch a win and start moving up the table to her.
Do you know what? I mean, I said I've seen Blackburn play a couple of times. I really like. To be honest, I'll be honest with you. Emma knows my my position. I have to declare that I'm a Manchester United fan. Obviously, not being seen much of them this season apart from TV, but I've been to many Championship games. Don't laugh. There's no need to laugh like that. Come on.
Sorry.
Everyone's got their own issues. That's mine. But I like all of the Championship teams. I watch them and I just see a wholehearted approach from every team and play good football and just a never say die approach to every game. And as a football fan, that's what you really want to see. I want to ask you a question, if that's okay. With the new TV deal, the split in terms of 75%, 25%, would you have wanted a little bit more going to the championship teams, considering what you know of the league?
I mean, you always want more, but I think that when you take into account what the championship teams currently get, and like working out that the 25%, I think it works out about 160k per team per season, and an amount like that is just massive. So I don't feel like, normally I'm quite cynical about a lot of things, but generally this deal is feeling like a good thing with Sky and BBC. So yeah, I'm taking it as good news.
I'm taking it. I'm sure you're taking it as good. I was a little bit down. I wanted them to have some more money. I'll be honest. I thought they could have. I just felt Sky didn't have to mirror the same level of inequality that we see in the Premier League and the Championship. And I just felt if you wanted the women's game to grow, 60-40 would have been much more equitable. Just saying, from my point of view. But that's just me. And I do hope that when they do get the money, that apart from the TV games being shown for WSL, that they have better camera equipment for the Championship on the FA Player. Just saying.
Yeah, I think that how they show the games and showing all of the Championship games would be great if they could do that. Yeah, and I take your point that sort of 40% would be even better. And it is about trying to help get the most teams into a position where they can maybe look at going full time to kind of help grow the game and grow the players and go from there, basically.
Exactly. Can you imagine? Think of it. I know I'm hogging the questions here, Hem. Apologies. But think of the deal. Think of the deal that we talked about for Sky. And it's a week later that there's this rumor of the second European League, which is going to be more money. They must have known this deal was being discussed. They must have. Anyway, I'll be quiet. Emma, have you got anything else to ask my friend?
No, I think you've pretty much summed it all up. I wish Blackburn well for the rest of the season. I hope you get a good run of games for the last few games that you've got.
Yeah, I've got one more question for you, sir, if that's okay. How integrated is Blackburn women's team to the main team, the men's team?
I mean, I understand that they train at the club's academy, and I only ever hear good noises out of the team, so I have to kind of take that at face value. But having said that, if ever I had the opportunity to kind of sort of hold the club accountable and say that the women should be getting more, then I'd always take that opportunity for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're hearing good things, and I hope the league does get the investment that it needs, because it's got some really, really good teams and really, really good players. Really good players down there. Thank you very much for your call, and please do call again when we're back on air.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. Oh, time flies when you're having fun. Doesn't it? It does.
How long have we been on? An hour?
Yeah, I know. Comment. Jinky says, how are clubs like Durham supposed to compete with the likes of Leicester and Liverpool, let alone with the WSL? That is true. Very difficult. They don't have an umbrella club to attach themselves to. Ooh, DM's in the house.
Yes, and just here to say, we have got room for other callers, so if got a space for a couple more, if anybody wants to get in touch, we've got one more caller lined up. So it's been fantastic that so many people have called in, and massive thanks to those people who have called in. And just get in touch via Twitter or that's probably the best way for now to do that. And phone in. Love to hear from you. If you can. If not, it will just be one more caller, but it's been great. So I'm gonna duck out again right now.
See, that was producer DM. Producer DM was here. She was here, loving it. She was just see the way she just turned up. It was like one of those scenes from Doctor Who.
Shall we play that video?
Yeah, we need to play the video. Oh,
yes.
The results.
Let's go through the results from the weekend.
Well, the results, we have a special video for you produced by one of our very special individuals. So you won't see. It's gonna take us off the screen for a moment. So it's gonna take up the screen. They won't hear us, but they're gonna see the video. There you go. And it's just the results. Going over the results for the weekend from the WSL and the Women's Championship. Enjoy. Back soon.
The Barclays Women's Super League. Manchester United 2, West Ham United 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0, Arsenal 3, Manchester City 1, Reading 0, Brighton Hove Albion 0, Everton 5, Chelsea 2, Aston Villa 0, Birmingham City 1, Bristol City 1. The Women's Championship. Durham 1, Sheffield United 1, Leicester City 2, Coventry United 0, Lewes 2, London Bees 1, London City Lionesses 0, Charlton Athletic 0, and finally Liverpool 1, Blackburn Rovers 1.
Well, what do you know? Our very own sports reporter giving us the sport results. Wow. Thanks, Craig. God, blimey, that was good, wasn't it?
So nostalgic. I love it.
I know.
So much.
I almost felt like I was back watching teletext.
Listen to the radio at 5 o'clock. I love it.
Like,
the final score.
Fingers in mouth going, did my team win? Did my team win?
It's great. What was your result from the weekend? I mean, there was quite a mixed bag there, but looking at the fixtures, which stood out for you?
I would say the championship. There were two in the championship that stood out for me. I felt that the Leicester result basically said to everyone, we mean business.
Yeah.
That's what it did. It said, we mean business, and the club can rightly applaud themselves and say, we've invested in our women's team. This is what it looks like. We mean to be part of the Women's Super League next season when there is more money coming into the game. So that stood out. That really did stand out for me. I've got to say, right, and I can see the comments just come in, and I'm going to put it on the screen. And I say this as a red. Watching Lauren Hemp do that little
messy
shoulder dip.
Messy.
Yeah, you call it messy. I call
Definitely
it Georgie Kinkladze jink in the box. It was one of, because I thought Reading are going to do it. They're not going to let them in. They're going to keep them out. That was a must needed 3 points for Manchester City, considering the Champions League. Cough, cough.
Yeah. Well, if we'd have not got anything out of that game, even the point wouldn't have been enough. That would have been a title chances over, I think.
Yeah.
There's no way Chelsea are going to drop points. We've got to be, controlling what we can, getting the results. And I think if that was City of last season, I don't think we would have necessarily got anything out of the game other than the point. The difference being is that we can go on and find a winner. And I think that's, shows that within us, we are sort of title contenders. But I do think it's going to be a massive ask, against Chelsea. But I believe that we can do it. I really do.
Yeah, do you know something? It's going to go right down to the wire. The top four fight, should I say, is very interesting. Obviously, Manchester City did their bit. Chelsea are doing their bit. Arsenal, literally going through the North London derby like a tick list. I feel sorry for Tottenham, though. Obviously hosting it at the Tottenham
Tottenham Stadium, and I think that's the second time or something they've done that, and obviously just fallen victim to a resolute Arsenal, but they still don't look a very strong side at the moment, Arsenal, for whatever reason. I actually do feel that there is that fight for third place, I suppose, between Arsenal and United.
Yeah, I honestly think that if they get third, if they win their game, in terms of the number of games that they've played in the league, I believe they'll hold on to the spot. But then I did say weeks ago that I didn't think they would do this well, but they've found some resolve. They're coming again. They've found their form. You hear the manager after the game, he's happy with the result. He's happy with the team's performance. It was really noticeable when I watched that game, the North London derby, how dominant Arsenal are on their left-hand side. Everything goes down their left, it seems. Their left-hand side seems to be just the most, and there were so many times that they could have switched the play to the right. They didn't. They come back inside, and they did move the ball well. They found the gaps. They played between the lines. Spurs, with their manager Skinner, who'd come from England, must be scratching their head thinking, what am I doing? Not say wrong, but what do I need to do for these players to get the results that they gave me in the first 3 games?
They're such an unlucky side, aren't they, Tottenham?
Yeah.
Like, just sometimes you watch them and you just think they just need a bit of a break. You know what I mean? And it's not for want of trying either, because they are a really good side. It just doesn't come together when it needs to.
Yeah, it doesn't come together, and they just didn't pose enough of a threat in that game. They just didn't pose enough. I'm just writing a little something here. Let me see what this. I'm going to add this in. We've got another comment coming in, but I'm just going to add this to the screen just for you. So, is the football rumor? Are there any transfer rumors?
I hate rumors.
I'm doing this. I know you do. I know you do. But the reason we've talked about Spurs, right? And I'm going to actually mention a player from the Championship. He seems to have disappeared from their team.
Oh, right, okay.
And they're from London. Babajida, talented young lady.
Yeah.
What's going on? Now, I looked at North London derby. It's proper kicking off. I looked at the North London derby and I think she'd do well in either team. Either team. Just saying. I don't mean to do that, peeps. I'm sorry.
You know what? I've seen her obviously play against City a couple of times. No. No, mate.
More tea, Vicar. More tea.
So I've seen obviously Babajide play against City a couple of times, and she is just phenomenal at times. When she's on the ball and she's on top of her game, she is absolutely relentless, and she will just go at defenses and just she's really hard to defend against, and she would be an absolute asset for probably any side in a WSR. I mean, Bristol probably. If Salmon was to go, I don't know, but you have to ask the question. But Tottenham would massively suit her down to the ground, without a doubt. They're in desperate need of some attacking options, Tottenham, at the moment. So it would be an ideal move. The only thing with it is the drama. Like, she needs to rein it in just a little bit. Rein it in.
Someone needs to delete those social media platforms.
Yeah.
Right, I think we've got another caller. We've got Hannah. Is Hannah here?
Totally. Yes, we're here. So I'm just introducing Hannah from Canada, Leicester City fan. So Rodney.
Hold on a minute. Canada.
Yeah, Hannah, you're here.
Wow.
Yes, I'm here.
Hannah, how are you?
I can hardly hear anyone.
Oh God, can you hear? Hello.
Okay, speak.
Hello.
Hannah's asking how. Sorry, Rodney's asking how you are.
Oh, I'm good. How are you guys?
We're fine. And what part of Canada are you calling from?
I'm calling from the West Coast, so I'm pretty far behind on time compared to you guys.
So what time is it there, if you don't mind me asking?
It's only noon, so it's not too bad. Normally when I do these things, it's at like 2 to 4 a.m. So this is wonderful.
Okay, well, now you found us. Please come again.
Absolutely. Have me again. And I'll happily come on.
Brilliant. What's your question, please?
So you guys mentioned in one of your tweets just kind of talking about how can Leicester be the ones to hop on and win that title. So I'm just wondering, what if we do, which I'm really hoping we do, and I'm thinking we will. I don't want to say anything too far, but when we do, what do you think that means for us being a side coming up from the championship going into the WSL? Obviously, we saw big things with Manchester United. So what do you think that means for us as Leicester City?
I've seen them play a couple of times. I would say it's a massive deal considering the players that they've acquired. I would say that they would also go out and get more players, because I think that the owners have demonstrated their belief and their support for the women's game. They've literally dug in and said, we'll do what we need to do. And I think for Leicester, should they make it, it's to be promoted next season with this new deal. It's like the right time. I think that Leicester play a very attractive style of football. They've got some great players. Paige Bailey-Gale's there, I think. Is that right?
Yes, she is. She's unfortunately out for the rest of the season due to injury, but she's with us.
She's a great player. LaChant Paul there. They've got Flynn. I mean, they move the ball so well. And what I like about Leicester, when I've watched them play, they can mix it up. They can be physical. They can do the short pass, long pass. And when they need it, they've got that killer long ball. They bypass the midfield. They have everything. I think the one time I've watched them play when they didn't get the result they wanted, or they found it very, very difficult, was when they played London City Lionesses. And I mean, they literally threw everything at City Lionesses, and they didn't get the result that they wanted. And you could see how devastated they were with regards to that. So should they make it to the Women's Super League, they will have done so not just because of the money, because the Championship is a very tough league. They will have done so because they have earned the right to be promoted, and they've done so playing really good football, and they can mix it up. And when I say mix it up in the sense that they won't be intimidated by anyone. They won't be. But what do you think, Emma, about that with Leicester?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Leicester, obviously, from experience. We faced you earlier in the season, right at the very beginning of the season, and you gave us a tough game. I think the final score was 2-1. And even before that, we played you, and it was a really well-fought game. And I think Leicester are doing all the right things. You've got Emil Heskey, invested within the women's team, coaching, an ambassador, a big, strong name linked to the team, which is incredible, keeping it within the club. I do think for Leicester to obviously make the transition to the WSL, I think, you will have to bring in some new players and just build around some of the quality players that you have got. It is a shame, like you said, that Paige Bailey-Gale has obviously got that injury. Was it a metatarsal or something like that? I can't remember.
I'm not even sure.
I think it was her MCL. I could have that totally wrong. I don't know my anatomy too well, but I believe it was that.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a real shame because she's been really bright this season as well. So it's a shame that obviously Leicester have lost her to injury for the rest of the season. But there's no doubt in my mind that Leicester City will be playing in the WSL next season. I think it's really exciting.
I hope we can come up. I have a bit of a follow-up question, if that's okay with that.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
If we are coming up, do you see us being like a regular side in the WSL? Because there's, of course, that fear of we go up and then we're just sent right back down. I personally don't see that happening with us. I think we've got great owners, like you said. We've got that investment. I'm sure we'll invest in some players, but as supporters of teams who have been in the WSL for a good amount of time, do you see us sticking around for quite some time?
I do.
Yeah, I do.
If I'm honest, I think, like you said, everything that Leicester have been doing, they've been, you know, on an upward trajectory, and they've been doing all the right things. I can't see from this point forward that they'd sort of turn away from that sort of investment and that backing that they've already shown. I kind of feel like they're in it, and they're in it for the long term.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I've watched them play quite a few times, and you know, I've seen them play live, and yeah, I see that they're an outfit that will only get better. I think they'll improve, not just in terms of their play, but in terms of their personnel. What I want to ask you, Hannah, if that's okay, you've watched them. You watched them from a distance. Who's your player of the season? And that question's coming from DM as well, who's secretly in my ear telling me what.
That's a tough one. You're putting me on the spot here because we have so many outstanding players, and everyone's just been phenomenal. Because I always say, like, even talking with other fans, you can see that this is a club full of depth, and they have such a sense of community there. So they all work together so well. But obviously, Natasha Flint has been incredibly outstanding with the amount of goals she's had. She's involved in every single game. She's helping out wherever. She drops into that midfield position a lot too, and she'll help out there. So I always say she's like that all-around striker. So she's really outstanding. But yeah, it's hard. We have so many great players.
Yeah, kind of a follow-up question about Flint. Is she left-footed or right-footed?
I wondered the exact same thing because I believe she's left-footed, but you would not be able to tell the difference.
I honestly think she's right-footed, but the way she's scoring those goals, I'm like, she can use both. She can use both. I've got a really interesting comment, and I want to ask you a question, Hannah, another one, if that's okay. And this will upset Emma. Is there a player that you would buy from the WSL right now?
Ooh, there's a lot, but I feel like I'd have to be realistic as well.
Yeah, one player.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I have to try to narrow down my options.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to show a comment from Jockey 551, Leicester and Ebony Salmon.
And everyone's just gone into meltdown.
I just thought, ooh. Yeah. I just thought that. I thought you might like that.
Women's football today's got the idea, I think, there, Rodney. Can you put that comment up?
Oh, no. But what? Babajida. Oh, right. Babajida to Leicester.
Oh, I've been hearing that. Yeah, I know a lot of people wouldn't like that, but with her current situation, I mean, if she wants to come on to Leicester, I'll take her happily.
Because you know what?
She's got goals.
She's got goals. Yeah, she was freaking me out when we were playing against Liverpool recently. Yeah. But if she wants to come over and be a Fox, please. Yeah.
Her, Paige Bailey-Gale, LaShawn Paul, Natasha Flint, Devlin, honestly, that
you're gonna win the league, mate. Honestly,
that lineup will trouble. And I don't care. It's a good lineup. It's a good lineup.
Hannah, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, of course.
How did you come to support Leicester?
Yeah.
That's What do I always get? It's funny because Leicester fans will even ask me, like, why do you support Leicester and not anyone else? I'm like, well, do you not want me to? But, came across supporting Leicester as a hockey fan, which is super Canadian. I was a Coyotes fan. That's my hockey team that I support. And when I was younger, basically just put Foxes and Coyotes next to each other and thought, hey, it works out. And I always say that I'm just really glad that with that logic, I did not go with Wolves. So happy to be a Leicester fan.
That's great.
I didn't go with Wolves this time. I don't even know if Wolves have a women's team. I'm sure they do.
They
do. That's good.
Yeah, I think they're like down in the National League. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm going to have to search them out. That's good stuff. Oh, do you know what, Hannah? I'm so glad that we were able to talk to you. This is really great. We've had our first call was from India, and I think you're our last call. I'm not sure. DM may tell me otherwise.
You guys are like, it's like Pitbull. You're going worldwide. You got to steal his whole slogan now.
Yeah, so I'm getting a private message. Bear with me. Hold on. Last call. You are the last call, Hannah. As you are the last call, and I think it's only right that we come back to you and say, should Leicester, this is my last question to you, should Leicester get promoted, what are your hopes for them next season?
Should they? Absolutely. I mean, we were professionalized this season. Our owners are really stepping in. You can tell that the club is wanting to do things for our women's side. And I always say, like, what Leicester are doing right now are just a great example of showing what investment in women's football does. Because they finished 7th in the league last season. Now they're top of the league. They've only lost 1 game all season. And, like, we gave Bristol a little bit of a run for their money in the FA Cup. Or, sorry, the Conti Cup. We gave City a bit of the run for their money in the FA Cup. So I think that just goes to show, like, we're capable of so much. We've got the backing from the club. We got amazing players, like, even personality-wise, like, just such awesome players. I 100% think that we should be promoted. I mean, even if, like, we were not great, I would probably say that too. But I definitely think we should be up there. And I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I feel it's Leicester's time, without doubt.
Wow, I think that's brilliant. Thank you very much, Hannah. I'm really glad you were able to call in, and we do hope that you come back and speak to us again when we're back on it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah.
Right, we've got, it looks like 8 minutes left, so I need to make sure that I go back and do this. Otherwise, I'm in big trouble. It's a big thanks to everyone who's watching on YouTube, on Twitter, those in the comments, those who called in. Really appreciate it. I'm saying thank you to DM and Craig, who are in the background doing all of the hard work, and to Emma, who's helped me in this little kind of period that we've been on air. It's been amazing. I tell you, we should have videos of us before. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah.
Playing it cool, just playing it down. No, it's been brilliant. Cool. I've really thoroughly enjoyed it, and thank you to everyone that's contributed and engaged with us and got involved and helped us spread the word. So keep spreading it. If you've enjoyed it, let us know. You know, we're doing it because we want to, you know, give fans a voice, and it's important that, you know, fans engage with it. So if you keep engaging, then that's great for us, and, you know, we'll keep doing it. Yeah,
I mean, I speak from me. I met obviously Emma and the others on Twitter and just through the football, and, you know, they've been kind to me. We talk, and Craig and Ali, and, you know, when the idea came up, I thought it was such a great idea that, you know, giving fans the opportunity, especially women's football, and you know, we're just, I don't know, feeling the need. And as I said at the very beginning, it's important to state that we've always been here, just not been heard. So, you know, it's not as if, you know, you guys are new. You've been around, you've been here all the time. You've just been waiting for this moment, and we're very grateful that you've been able to kind of share it with us and tune in and call in, and you've made this a very easy, amazing, fantastic first show. It's been brilliant, and I have to say again, I'm going to say thank you to DM for holding things up at the end in terms of the calls, and for Craig on comms and Twitter and everything else is good. And yeah, everyone's amazing. You're phenomenal. You're fantastic, and you, Emma, as well. Yeah.
Stop. No, thanks, Rodney. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
you're fantastic.
Yay.
Yay, we did it. We know who to blame. We know who to blame. Right, comments on the screen quickly. I'll go through these in reverse. Jockey 551, I think it's 551, glasses. Keep it going, respect. Cam says, great, not breast. Well, I don't know what that means, but I mean, great, not best. I said, breast first episode. Can't wait for the next one. Thank you very much. I think he's on a wind up there. As long as they don't come back to haunt us. I think that's the Leicester one. This one. We trained Charlie Devlin. I think that's a Man United fan, you know. I'm sure. Have we got anything else in there? Cam, going back to the whole Leicester thing, Salmon and Babajida, Leicester. Could you imagine if Leicester did that?
Get off Ebony Salmon.
Shots fired, everyone. Shots fired from the grassy knoll. Shots fired from the grassy knoll. Oh gosh, we've literally almost come to time, Emma. I feel I've talked so much; it's unreal. But it's been a blast. It's been an absolute blast. Yeah. We're gonna actually come to an end. And this has not been planned. I'm not even sure how we're going to come to an end. We have to say a big hello as well to Ali, who's not here. Ali was due to be with us, but due to work, she's had to step away. Step away. So we're going to do that, and we're going to actually leave you now. And well, we're just going to leave you and say, please come again. Make sure you like, make sure you share, and please make sure you spread the word and tell everyone that you were first on the first ever women's football phone-in. Thank you very much. I'm Rodney Cyrus. That's Emma.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Rodney. Thanks, DM. Thanks, Craig. Thanks, Ali.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Thanks
everyone.
Right. See you later, guys. Bye.